Hello everybody, it's Steve Callaway. It's here, and I'm here with Angelina Jordan and her family for the excitement surrounding the release of Secret of the Star, the Christmas album. And I just did a whole morning video without this in it, and I had to put it to the side and do this because I came over to Mozart's M, which is one of my regular stops for finding material for Angelina, and there's I think 3 or 4 brand new ones on here that weren't on Gaslight Clean Slate Forever, Mery's site. And so I visited Mery's site first, which I don't normally do, the Gaslight Clean Slate Forever. And then I came over here and I said, whoa, wait a minute, these are all different from the ones over there. So I had to get this for you. I just had to, I put that one aside. I'll finish it later on tonight probably. But I wanted to get this one out first. Secret of the Star. First, let me. Mery wrote a comment over here. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. It's really long, but I think that's why I wanted to do this video because it's important. So this is Mozart's M, which is Mery, and let me just, it says the music's driving home for Christmas, which apparently Angelina really likes that song, I guess. So let me read what Mozart's creator, which is Mery, had to say over here. Thank you for laying your kindness upon this music like a gentle breeze. We only write the notes, but what gives them life is the love that rises from your hearts. In every sound we create, there is a breath of silent, ancient wisdom, a place where no name remains and no title matters. Only humanity itself, building bridges from one heart to another. And if there is a secret to the happiness of this world, it is the smile of children. How true is that? A light whose glow softens even the hardest hearts and turns the winter of the soul into spring. And this light has been carried for years on the small shoulders of a young angel, a child who once stood barefoot with a fasting, humble heart, and offered her voice to bring joy to children everywhere. Today the world knows her by a name lifted by the people, not by hidden hands. Queen Angelina Jordan, the only star shaped by the people and raised to greatness by the people. There was no secret force behind her. It was the love of the people that turned her into light. And now it is our duty to keep this flame alive, like a sacred fire that must never be allowed to fade. The light must spread, must be heard, and must reach the ears of the world, for brightness belongs to every heart. May we guard this flame with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, for everything has a price, and the price of being human is kindness and truth. With gratitude for the quiet love that brightens the world, and with love for every ear that listens, and every heart that trembles. Be in love and know that we, the small family of 8, are bound to you through love. We love you with all our hearts. On this path of light, on this path of sound, on this path of humanity. Mery Zamani Mozart's. This was posted an hour ago. Wow. That's powerful stuff right there. I know you guys can't see it because it's off to the side, but I read it to you word for word with a couple of stumbles like I always do. Let me read this other part to you. I don't think there's not a button for music, so we'll just read this for you. I may come back and read this again because there's a lot in there that makes perfect sense to me, and I'm sure it does to many of you. So over here to the picture that you're looking at, Secret of the Star. No names are spoken, no claims are needed behind this album. There were spirits and hands that turned pain into art and darkness into light. A spirit that, like Moses, turned a simple staff into poetry and image, guided only by a quiet, magical pen that carved this path into existence, and a voice that breathed life into that miracle, pure and deep, as if it descended from the sky itself. This album was shaped by those whose names are never shouted, yet the world feels their presence. A silent pen, and a voice that turns every word into a star. This is Secret of the Star, a miracle that speaks for itself. Mery Mozart's. Ooh. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me read this one again, and then we'll go back and read the other one. How's that sound? Sorry to bore you if it's boring you, but I think these words are so important. You know what this world needs right now? This stuff right here. That's what the world needs right now. More of. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does. But could we use more of it? Absolutely. We have to get the world, with all the abundance in the world. By abundance, I mean in a physical sense, money, materials, goods, whatever people need to exist, right? But we have all of it. We have all of it and more. But it's not spread out in such a way that those that need it have it, and those that need it probably can't afford to have it unless they pay what they can't afford to pay to have it, right? And with all this, and there's people that are just billionaires, billion, lots of billions, right? I'm not picking on them because I'm not one that believes we should have an even wealth distribution, only because people that work hard for it and earn their money the honest way, they work hard and find a way to acquire more wealth. I don't begrudge them that. They're smart, okay? Or they're lucky, or they're all the above, right? So I don't begrudge them the fruits of their labor. All of us, no matter how little we have, could at least do something like throw a few pennies in the kettle, the red kettle there for the Salvation Army as we come out of the store, instead of avoiding the kettle and going to the other door to get out. You know what I'm saying? So would it hurt you to throw in a little change, or maybe even a few dollars? I'm sure it wouldn't. I don't think anybody that's listening to this is that broke. It all depends on how you do the math, I suppose. But yeah. So what do we need more of? We need more of what's being asked for and called for and mentioned in all these writings here. And I think we all can do a small part. And you know what the best part is? Even if you have no money, even if you always do everything with a debit card or a credit card or whatever, and you carry no cash with you, whatever, and you see a donation spot like the Salvation Army thing, I'm just using them as an example. There's all kinds of jars on counters all over the place for people taking donations for this, that, and the other thing. But if you have no money and you can't put anything in there because they don't take debit cards at those things, okay, guess what you can do? You can smile at the person doing the job. You can mention to them that you don't have any cash on you, but I appreciate that you're out here in the cold and the rain, whatever it is, the wind, and you're trying to raise funds for these people, and I'll keep them in my prayers, or whatever you want to say that's nice, that might encourage them and make them a little happier than they were a second ago. That's free. All it takes is a few seconds of your time. So there is that. So let me go ahead and read this to you again. Secret of the Star. No names are spoken. No claims are needed behind this album. There were spirits and hands that turned pain into art and darkness into light. A spirit that, like Moses, turned a simple staff into poetry and image, guided only by a quiet, magical pen that carved this path into existence, and a voice that breathed life into that miracle, pure and deep, as if it descended from the sky itself. This album was shaped by those whose names are never shouted, yet the world feels their presence. A silent pen and a voice that turns every word into a star. This is Secret of the Star, a miracle that speaks for itself. Mery Mozart's. And although the writing is on top of the picture, that's a beautiful picture of Angelina. I guess that's Mery, although she looks so young there. Mery, what have you been doing? Anyway, good for her. Let me read the other part over here that you can't see. And I don't know, I'd make another video and have you be able to see it, but you wouldn't. It's still very small writing, so I'd still have to read it. So why don't I just go ahead and read it now. Mozart's creator, thank you for laying your kindness upon this music with a gentle breeze. We only write the notes, but what gives them life is the love that rises from your hearts. In every sound we create, there is a breath of silent, ancient wisdom, a place where no name remains and no title matters, only humanity itself. Building bridges from one heart to another. And if there is a secret to the happiness of this world, it is the smile of children. A light whose glow softens even the hardest hearts and turns the winter of the soul into spring. And this light has been carried for years on the small shoulders of a young angel, a child who once stood barefoot with a fasting, humble heart and offered her voice to bring joy to children everywhere. Today, the world knows her by a name lifted by the people, not by hidden hands. Queen Angelina Jordan, the only star shaped by the people, who raised to greatness, and raised to greatness by the people. There was no secret force behind her. It was the love of the people that turned her into light. And now, it is our duty to keep this flame alive, like a sacred fire that must never be allowed to fade. This light must spread, must be heard, and must reach the ears of the world, for brightness belongs to every heart. May we guard this flame with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, for everything has a price, and the price of being human is kindness and truth. With gratitude for the quiet love that brightens the world, and with love for every ear that listens and every heart that trembles, be in love and know that we, the small family of 8, are bound to you through love. We love you with all our hearts, on this path of light, on this path of sound, on this path of humanity. Mery Mozart's. It's funny, I was just thinking today, I went to our local YMCA to play pickleball today, and they have a part of the building right next to the gymnasium is it's a place that has like fake grass in there, and it's they use it a lot for all kinds of different things. But one of the things they do is they have the kids come in there and they play, especially the little kids. And today I looked in there and there had to be 20 little, I'm talking little, barely able to walk toddlers kind of kids. Also, they were all about that age, which was kind of weird. Usually there's a mixture in there, but there must have been a special time for these really the young among us. And what a joy just to look in the window, see all those little kids, everyone doing doing something different, and just smiling, laughing, and having the greatest time. And you know what that does to my heart? What it does to me? Same thing it would do to yours. It's such a beautiful thing. And and then Mery mentions it in what she says here. It's I don't know. There's always connections with everything, isn't there? Okay. Well, I think I've taken enough of your time. Thanks for listening, and we shall see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Okay, everybody, this one here is just this picture with Angelina. It says album, Secret of the Star, drops at 9 a.m. LA. The journey starts now. This was posted 19 hours ago on Mozart's M. And that's all there is. And I spent a lot of time talking on the other video, so I think I'll move along quickly to save a little time for you, okay? But that's, we all know it's out now. And I'm kind of scanning the comments over here, and everybody seems very pleased with the album, and I know I am. So let's go ahead and move along to the next one. Hello, everybody. I'm back again. This is another posting 1 hour ago, and this is the same thing that I just read to you, the long one. And the music, when I get around to hitting the triangle, it's going to be a Christmas prayer. That's one of the songs off the new album. I'm sure it'll only be a part of it, but you've been listening to me talk quite a bit today, so why don't I hit the triangle first, and then we'll come back and I'll read this beautiful writing from Mery to you all once again. That'll be 3 times today. Sorry to bore you with it, but I think it's worth repeating.
For the children, let the spirits fly. Spirits fly. Hear their laughter echo to the sky. Let us keep their little hearts aglow. For Christmas brings the love we all should know. May the world be happy, may the world be strong. May we learn to dance and sing along. Life's a gift, let's live it while we can. Hand in hand, together we will stand.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to the album, please do yourself a favor and do it, especially if you're watching this channel that is primarily an Angelina channel. It's I think you'll see right away that it's a wonderful addition to all of our traditional Christmas carols and Christmas songs. Let's go ahead and I'll read this for you again, then we'll call it a night. This will only be 3 on this video, but I talked a lot on one of them at least, and then I'm going to do that again now. Let me read it for you. Thank you for laying your kindness upon this music like a gentle breeze. We only write the notes, but what gives them life is the love that rises from your hearts. In every sound we create, there is a breath of silent, ancient wisdom, a place where no name remains and no title matters. Only humanity itself, building bridges from one heart to another. I gotta pause there for a minute. That is what we need. This whole thing is what we need. But a place where no name remains and no title matters. Only humanity itself, building bridges from one heart to another. So true. And if there is a secret to the happiness of this world, it is the smile of children. It doesn't get any truer than that. Let me read it again. And if there's a secret to the happiness of the world, it is the smile of children, a light whose glow softens even the hardest hearts. Yeah, if you can see a little kid smile and you're not smiling, I don't know what to tell you. You just have to. A light whose glow softens even the hardest hearts and turns the winter of the soul into spring. That's so true. Sometimes you can get caught, I guess, maybe we'll call it complacency, to call it something somewhat not too bad, you know. You're just getting up every day, doing what you do, going to sleep and getting up and doing it again the next day. And sometimes your faith in the rest of humanity isn't what it used to be. You know, go look at a little kid smiling. What else does there need to be than that, right? Well, love would be a good thing, but you know that's such a, it just uplifts your whole spirit and your soul. And the light this has been, and this light has been carried for years on the small shoulders of a young angel, a child who once stood barefoot, while a fasting, humble heart, and I gotta read that again. I'm sorry, I messed it up. And this light has been carried for years on the small shoulders of a young angel, a child who once stood barefoot with a fasting, humble heart, and offered her voice to bring joy to children everywhere. We all have seen the videos of Angelina when she was younger with all the little, they were like school concerts and stuff, and all the little girls and boys were there as fans watching her sing. She does bring joy to children's hearts. And her work is still going on to this day to, as a philanthropist, trying to help fund good causes that help children primarily, is really an example we should all probably try to follow in some way. Today the world knows her by a name lifted by the people, not by hidden hands. Queen Angelina Jordan, the only star shaped by the people and raised to greatness by the people. There was no secret force behind her. It was the love of the people that turned her into light. And that, when I read that initially here just a few short minutes ago, I have felt that Angelina going independent, free of any connections to anybody that would like to steer her in whatever direction, it was such a great move on her part. That's what Angelina needs, to be set free to do her thing. And it's such a beautiful thing. It needs to be free. It needs to run its course. And Angelina is now, and her family are now driving that vehicle into, eventual global iconship, if there's such a word. And I was, I didn't know any of the other stuff with like Toby Gad or Republic Records. I don't know all the stuff that went on. But when you work with other people, whether it's spoken or unspoken, I think everybody knows there's certain expectations as you go along. Sometimes it can be somebody says, well, you should do it this way. Sometimes they don't say anything, but they want you to do it their way, okay? And those influences can sway you one way or the other. Now, I'm not saying it had any impact on Angelina's voice and her things like that. That's not what happened. But what it can do, I believe, is it can take the wind out of your sails. That you feel there's a way you want to do things, and when somebody else is trying to steer you down a different path, it's almost like, it's like a wet blanket on a fire, right? Sometimes. I think Angelina's stronger than that. I think her family's much stronger than that. And I think that's why they ended up going independent, which is no small thing in itself. Let me read this. Let me finish reading this up, and I can help you guys get out of here before the whole day's gone, right? And now it is our duty to keep this flame alive, like a sacred fire that must never be allowed to fade. The light must spread, must be heard, and must reach the ears of the world, for brightness belongs to every heart. That's what I was trying to say when I read this video a little while ago, or read this writing a little while ago, is there is so much in this world. There's so much beauty, there's so much abundance, there's so much of everything. Maybe not all where it needs to be, but it's out there, it's available. And treating each other the right way goes a long ways towards setting things right. You know, if you care about humanity, if you care about people more than things, then maybe you have something that you can do that's within your power to help those that don't have to at least have enough to get by. And I'm not saying clean out your bank account and send it to a charity somewhere. There's all kinds of things you can do. And I think sometimes, like I say a lot of times, I think sometimes it's the little things. When I went to the Y to play pickleball today, I've never seen this guy there before. I mean, I was looking in the window, I saw all the little kids in there. I was just smiling. It made my heart feel so good, right? To see all those little kids in there, that's just a wonder. It's a miracle. So I'm walking down the hall, and there's a guy sitting there with one of the canes that blind people have, you know. He's sitting on a chair, but he's got this long cane thing that I know the blind people use to feel, you know, where the walls and things are. And he's sitting there, and he looked like he was blind. I mean, he was basically, his head was looking straight ahead and things. And I see, you know, as I'm approaching him, I can see there's a bunch of people walking by him in both directions. And he's just sitting there quietly. He's not making a problem for anybody. And I walked by and said, "Hey, how you doing today?" He says, "Oh, great, I'm doing great. How are you?" I said, "Oh, fantastic, okay. You have a good one now." And I just kept on walking. That's all I did. I never even broke stride. I recognized that he was a human being sitting there, and nobody else was paying attention to him. And I said something to him, and his response was so upbeat. You know, it made me feel really good that I said something, because it's easy to walk by folks that are having difficulties. That was such an obvious one, but you don't know what people's lives are like. May we guard. Let me make sure I read everything. The light must spread, must be heard. Okay. May we guard this flame with good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, for everything has a price, and the price of being human is kindness and truth. Yes, it is. I have to... With gratitude for the quiet love that brightens the world, and with love for every ear that listens and every heart that trembles. Yeah. That's part of the feeling you feel when you listen to Angelina sing, if you're a fan. That trembling heart, right? Be in love, and we know that we, the small family of 8, are bound to you through love. We love you with all our hearts. On this path of light, on this path of sound, on this path of humanity. Mery Zamani. Sorry to go into an analysis of what's being written here, but I just would throw in my thoughts that it's so clear what she's saying, and it's so simple what she's saying, and I believe it's also simple what the fix is to some of the problems that exist in the world that are easily fixed. I'm no hero for talking to the blind guy, okay? That's not why I'm saying it. I don't want to say, "Oh, he's such a nice guy, he talked to blind." I do that kind of stuff all the time routinely, because I try to acknowledge people that might not otherwise be acknowledged, to let them know that they're a human being too, and so am I, okay? We're of one kind, okay? And I feel bad for people that are alone. I feel bad for people that don't seem to get any kind of recognition just for being a human being. That's all. You don't have to be the king of the world. You don't have to be a big business owner. You don't have to be anything like that. All you got to do is be you. You are unique. You're the only one of you there's ever going to be, period. The blind guy's the only one like him that there's ever going to be, ever was, and ever will be, okay? It's impossible for there to be more than one of you, because of the circumstances that brought you into this world are totally unique unto themselves. Forget whatever else happens. Nobody walks in your shoes your whole life either. They don't know what you've gone through and what you deal with every day. Could be great stuff, could be not so great stuff, could be a combination of both, which is what it is for most people. And so, does it hurt to talk to a guy I've never seen before that's sitting there on a bench all by himself, people walking by, nobody saying nothing? So, most of you can tell I'm not very bashful, but I'll talk to pretty much anybody. And in a case like that, that was such an easy thing for me to do, and I think it may have I know it brightened my day, and that's not why I did it, but I think it brightened his day too, that somebody acknowledged his presence there. All right, guys, that'll do it. Let's get out of here. I took up way too much of your time again. All right, guys, talk to you later. Bye-bye.